Hey, 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 hey! How are you, my lovelies? Which camera am I on? Yes, I'm on that camera. That is good. Welcome to Lunch and Learn Live. Tuesday, the whatever we are, August the 25th. I am back home. Back home in the office, which is great because I need to start with a bit of an apology. It turns out that last week I completely forgot. So, sincerest apologies. I have a commitment to being here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. It's a commitment that matters. It's a commitment that's in my diary that gets organized about. And on days when I look at my diary, it works perfectly. But the last 2 weeks I was on holidays and I may have gone through all of Tuesday and in fact all of last week without looking at my diary. And it wasn't until I realized at about 8 p.m. on Tuesday that I went, oh my God, I missed my girls for Lunch and Learn Live. Greg and I looked at each other and went, you're human. They will still love you as long as you apologize. So here I am to apologize. My sincerest apologies for not being here last week. Completely human moment, didn't open my diary and completely forgot that it was Tuesday. I was properly on holidays. So the upside of that is I was properly on holidays and I feel very rested and I'm pleased to be back. We survived the caravanning, which is great. We were kind of like, do we really like caravanning or do we not? But it turns out we did great. It turns out that if I get into bed with Rosie for 45 minutes, eventually she goes to sleep. And that's the shortest way to a sleeping 3-year-old when in caravan. And by the end, I just gave up and decided there was 45 minutes worth of cuddles and it would be all right. So that's what we did. And it was good. And we had lots of fun. And Wales is beautiful and I want to move there. It's really beautiful. It reminds me a lot of home. It's either that or move home. So, one or the other. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how we go. What's that on me? I've got fluff on me. Stuff all over me. Anyway. So welcome to today's Lunch and Learn Live, where we are going to be talking about numbness, which is something that not all of us have experienced, but an overwhelmingly large proportion of our community have been talking about it in a lot of the Living the Change coaching that we've been doing. A lot of our Lead the Change ladies have been talking about it lately. A bunch of it has been coming up. In the community a lot recently. It sometimes shows up as an inability to kind of envision a future, an inability to kind of see a vision or see how things could change or see a way out. Sometimes it feels like you might have experienced this feeling of, what would you say? Like a kind of a disconnect between you and the rest of the world. Like you can be in your family and they all seem to be getting along really well or things are happening, but it doesn't seem like it impacts you. It's almost like a tune out can kind of happen. Sometimes it shows itself up as kind of living at a superficial level, like you're not tuned into the highs and the lows of life. Like it's just kind of feels a bit flatlined. I wonder if any of you who are here live with me, and I can see there's over 30 of you just now, if any of you have experienced that at any point in your life. It's, as I say, it's increased in prevalence in the community over this last 6-month period of time. And I'm going to talk about why that is, what causes these feelings, and then how we can kind of get ourselves back. It's one of the things that I think is critical for all of us to understand, because we might see it in our girlfriends, we might see it in staff members. We need to understand what's happening. So do let me know. Yeah, Charlotte says, I describe it as the void. Yeah, it's that kind of feeling. Yeah, I get that, Charlotte. I get that. It's a feeling dissociated from everything. Roz is saying, yep, I definitely get this right now. Yeah, absolutely. Tracy says twice in a day. Yes, Tracy was on our foundation training this morning. So good to see you again, my love. So this is something that has been cropping up a lot. And I think let's understand it. Let's understand it for you. Let's understand it for the people in your life so that you can help and support them and know what's happening. This is one of the things that caused us to be running our upcoming 2-day workshop. Which we're hosting on the, I should have got the dates. Just me over my calendar here. What are the dates we're doing it here, ladies? There we go. It's the 19th and 20th of September. It is called Momentum for Change. And in response to what we were hearing from our Lead the Change and Living the Change coaching clients over the last 6 months, it feels like we've kind of survived, like we got through the hard part, but now it feels like a different hard part has started where our energy for change, our energy for stepping up and being creative again, for starting a new business or starting a new job or starting a new relationship or doing anything other than just clonkety clonkety clonk getting along in life, feels like we don't have that energy available to us at the moment. Many of us have been speaking to that. I know it's not true for everybody, but we're really hearing that powerfully at the moment. And it made me realize that what we really need to do is speak to this. We need to really dip in and speak powerfully about what's going on and why we're experiencing these things. So that's why we created Momentum for Change. It's going to be a huge online, virtual, interactive experience with us live from this room into your sofa. 2 full days, transformational event. So imagine what you might have experienced with us before on, a short workshop or my Lunch and Learn lives, and turn it into experiential, turn it into deeply transformational, welcoming in 4 amazing guest speakers and digging into the types of things that are impacting us right now. This feeling of lack of momentum and inertia, a feeling of procrastination, a feeling of numbness, a feeling of disempowerment where victim, bitch, and martyr are showing up more often than normal. Most of us are feeling less powerful than we did back in March, right? Some of us met the emergence of the global pandemic and lockdown and so on with a good dose of, I've got this, we can do this, we're all in this together, we can handle this, right? And then something has happened where we've tapped into those resources that we had, we've used up what was in our bucket and we're kind of running on empty. And it results in this, one of the symptoms of that is this feeling of emotional numbness. And it sounds like a few of you have experienced that. Tracy says, I used to suffer from depersonalization, slightly out of body and not connected, that the world was happening around me. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it, Tracy. Simone says, I was the ghost of my former self. Yes, you kind of feel like you're not fully here, right? That things are happening and you're there and you're engaging, but it kind of feels like you're not fully present, not really fully present. Jilly's saying that resonates powerfully. Yeah. So that's where so many of us are. And so what I wanted to talk about today was a little bit of understanding this symptom and why it has become more common in the community recently. Why that is at some level normal, but not normal to not notice it, right? How not noticing it could lead to challenges. And then how on the weekend, Momentum for Change, we're going to help to shift the dial on that. We're going to help to resolve it a little bit. So let's talk about this numbness piece. Where does it come from? Why? Why are so many of us feeling it right now? And many of us have felt it at stressful times in our lives, and many of us are feeling it even more right now. And by the way, ladies, if you know someone who is feeling like this at the moment, please do tag them in this video, in the comment section, write their name, hit what's the word? Their name comes up, click on it and enter, and that will tag them in the video so that they could watch this if you feel that this might help them. Or please share it to your Facebook page, just with a little note saying, hey, just in case you need it right now and you're feeling like this, I found this interesting. If you find it interesting. If you don't find it interesting, don't do that, of course. Only people you know who would really benefit, but we really appreciate it if you do share. So numbness. Let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about this thing called numbness. Let's kind of break it down, and I don't want to get too scientific about it because the science on it is not is fairly edgy. It's cutting edge kind of stuff. But I wanted to just talk about it in broad brush strokes from an understanding perspective. And yeah, Tracy, you've pretty much Nailed it. You've pretty much nailed it. Tracy's saying, is it our brain's way of trying to protect us, keeping our core safe? It is. It's very similar to that. So you know what happens. Okay, let me start with a story. So, as you know, I went to Wales last weekend and I went swimming in the sea. Hooray! And when we were on the south coast, we went swimming at Burry Point and Pembrey and that kind of stretch of coastline. It was beautiful. No wetsuits required, which for an Aussie in the kind of northern hemisphere water is saying a lot. But we had a ball, all of us. It was great fun. Then we went around the corner and we were at I want to say Aberporth. I don't know how you say it. Aberporth Beach the following week. You'd be so proud of me. I was a proper Brit. That day. It was drizzly and rainy and overcast. There was no sunshine to be seen, but it was, God damn it, our summer holidays. So as we got out of the car, I said to the kids, well, there's two ways we could play this, kids. We could either put our coats on over our clothes and go into this, go down and play on the beach, go for a walk, cook in the things and get our clothes wet because we only had, little spray jackets. I said, or we could go proper Brit, put our wetsuits on, which doesn't matter if they get wet, and go for a swim. And that's what we did. Oh, yes, we did, my friends. I was proper British. I put on my wetsuit. I went swimming in the cold and the rain. Now, the reason, Lynn's saying, oh my God, literally down the road from me. Yes, Lynn, I must have been in your neck of the woods. Where are you? Where in the world are you? It's so beautiful on that coast. Oh my God. Anyway, so we get in the water and, the first thing is you go, ah! It was really cold around that corner. And we only had shorty wetsuits on, right? So first thing that happens is it feels really cold. You feel things more acutely and you feel how fucking cold the water is, right? Super cold. Then your body does what your body is designed to do when you get into very cold environments. And to preserve your core, it closes down all of the blood supply, not all of the blood supply, but it minimizes blood supply to your periphery. Right? So your arms and legs don't get it. Your head doesn't get as much. And it just all comes into the core, right? Into the core and your brain does get a bit to start with, but even that starts to diminish after a while, right? And you go into the core. So this is what happens physiologically when we put our bodies under stress. And that is exactly what happened to me and Rosie in the water. James chickened out. He couldn't handle the first little bit of cold. He's like, this is too cold. I'm getting out. And then but Rosie and I, warrioresses to our hearts, stayed in for a while. And after a while, I called out to James. I said, you know what, buddy? I can't even feel my legs anymore. It's fabulous. He wasn't convinced. To his credit, he did not come back in the water. We didn't need to prove anything to anyone. We didn't stay in a really long time. But we had a bit of fun until Rosie started, her lips to turn blue. We got out and then she cried because she was so cold. Anyway, we dealt with that. But that's what happens physiologically when we put a physiological stress on our body. And a similar thing happens when we undergo psychological stress, right? And let's just cast our mind back to March, or cast your mind back to February, before here in the UK or where most of us are, unless you do happen to be tuning in, from East Asia, from China, from Italy. It was a little earlier as well. But that was back when it was kind of like, we didn't really even know if it was a thing. It was kind of on the news. And then it sort of arrived in Italy in that big way. And then it arrived here to the UK. Australia's kind of just having, big lockdown in Melbourne now. This is the second one. New Zealand's locked down again. Who knows what's happening in the States? I don't really know what's going on over there for you guys. But anyway, so first of all, global pandemic. No one's ever faced this before. It was, with the stress of what was the thing, the unknown of what the thing was. Then there was all the economic, stress and how it was making, turning out what was going to happen to our work. Many of us lost careers, businesses overnight. I mean, I had women in a coaching group who were in the travel industry whose business just evaporated overnight, gone. It's just gone. Loved ones, we've had such stress. And then we went into quarantine, and there was this relative cocoon or safety for many of us, while then still others were still out in the NHS or in, the supermarkets or in these core industries, police and what have you, still doing all of the stuff that they had to be doing, who didn't get that little cocoon. And that feeling of, okay, we can do this, kind of solidified us and helped us through it. But we were still having to use a higher level of executive functioning than we ordinarily would have done pre all of this. Things like shopping have become a 15-step process, where in the past it might have been a 3-step process. Things like just the basics of life have become tougher and harder. There's just become more steps, and we were having to rebuild completely new habits, right? These are all psychological stressors, to say nothing of the fact that many of us underwent really traumatic experiences or are undergoing very traumatic experiences. I had 2 experiences during that period which were, let's say they were life-threatening stressors to very close family members of mine. Which I was the person who was there for them, which are incredibly, they were traumatic experiences. You have traumatic experiences because your body does that. Your psychology closes you down from it, and then when it's starting to reintegrate, you get the little flashbacks, right? So if you had any of those experiences over this last 6-month period of time with anything that's going on, even crazy stressy dreams about supermarket journeys or whatever it might be, where your body is trying to make sense and deal with all of this stuff, or your psychology is trying to deal with all of this stuff. So when we are facing trauma, I don't even like that we call post-traumatic stress disorder a disorder, because it's actually the right response to a highly traumatic event. Just as pull all of the blood away from your peripheries is the right response to traumatic freezing cold, the right response for your psychology from a highly traumatic event where you can't handle all of the emotional inputs is to tune it out, right? Is to go just into survival. What do I need to do to maintain? And suppress the emotional response. And stress hormones have an impact on the limbic part of your brain, on your limbic system, to do this. And it's actually highly beneficial, because if we didn't have it, there's no way we could survive wars. There's no ways we could survive. And for many of us, we've been talking about the front line of the NHS and so on, right? We are, all of the language around what we're facing has been very defense, right? Very warlike, the front lines. But in this case, the overwhelming majority of frontline workers have been women, right? We are the majority of NHS workers here in the UK, healthcare workers, carers, right? And we're at the front line. So what we have needed to do is suppress. Now, many of us, that front line has looked like managing stressed kids who don't understand what's going on. For many of us, that front line looks like managing a stressed team, right? We have been in heightened, possibly for many of us, actually traumatic moments. And the psychology's normal process is to suppress the emotional response, right? Oh, wow, that's interesting. Kathy says in the US, we're working to take the D off PTSD. I think that's really good, because PTSD, I don't think it is a disorder. It is just post-traumatic stress. It's where you have a massively stressful traumatic experience. Your psychology and all of the way that your hormones and your brain chemistry work to suppress the emotional, not suppress, but to I want to say dead. It's not deaden, it's like diminish. Instead of going, wow, we just go, whoa. Okay, I'm not going to tune into all of the edgy bits. I'm just going to tune into what do I need to be able to decide. But then all of that edgy bit, it still hit the system. It's still in the system, and it needs to come out of the system, which is why in post-traumatic response, when you go to sleep at night, you have the flashbacks, right? I remember this after the birth of James, which for me was a traumatic, stressful event. I had the most horrendous obstetrician known to womankind. She was nice to me only after she discovered I was a doctor. That pisses me off. You be nice to me because I am a woman giving birth. Anyway, I had to go and have trauma counseling because for days and weeks afterwards, I'd just be there with James and then I'd have this flashback of her in my face and how she was with me. And I'd have a flashback to, all of the stuff that they were doing trying to do to my body, where I had to defend every little moment of it. It was bad. But you get that's where your body's going, okay, we're safe now, deal with this little bit. Okay, we're safe now, deal with this little bit, right? So it presents little pieces to us for processing and release. Our body doesn't want to hold on to all that emotion. It wants to release it. But here's the thing. If we circle back to the numbness piece, it's like the numbness in our legs. The numbness, the emotional numbness is our psychology's response to pulling in and not feeling all of the edges of this stressful time. Is this making sense, ladies? Please let me know in the comment section here if this is making sense for you. Oh, I can see my sister. This is my sister, Kath. Hi, Sissy Belle. How are you, darling? Good to see you. I miss you. Yeah, so let me know how this is landing for you. It's critical that you understand kind of that it's a normal response, right? It's a normal response. It's also critical that we understand that all of those edgy stressors, all of the emotions that your body is trying not to present to your conscious mind, your body still felt them, right? The stress, well, it's not exactly true, but this is the way I think the best metaphor for understanding what is going on. Your system, your body mind still went through the stress, but your emotional mind has kind of got this self-defense mechanism saying, you can't handle all of this all at once, my love. So I'll hold on to this. Your body is going, I'll hold on to it until you're safe, and then I'll present it to you. Now, here's the deal. If you're still going, if you're still in Superwoman or Warrioress or whatever you're in to try and get through it, right? If you're still wrangling the kids because school hasn't gone back, if you're still got crisis in the team that you're trying to manage, if you are still rolling out every day to emergency because that's where you work, and you haven't had a proper break, then you will get to this point of numbness around it, right? You get to the point of numbness because you're not yet safe. The body's not yet safe to be able to present some of it for healing and release. Yeah? Yes. That's it. This is good. Yeah. Jilly says, and isn't it interesting? We punish ourselves for reacting this way. At least I do. This is it, babes. We can't. We have to go, okay, this is normal. It's a normal emotional response to overwhelming emotional triggers. But here's the critical but. If we don't then give ourselves the space and the safety to process when we can, right? Because some of us can't, like, you might not be out until the kids go back. Maybe you can't, right? Until you've got that 2 weeks holiday, which are coming up in 10 more days or whatever, you can't. But there is only so long, and everybody's nervous system is different, but there's only so long that your emotional self can hold on to this stuff before it then starts to express in less healthy ways. We go from numb into victim and hopelessness. We go from numb into bitch and shouty and not kind, right? And our relationships start breaking down. We lose our jobs because we're pissing too many people off or whatever, right? Numbness goes into distancing ourselves from our friends and from our loved ones until they're like, well, I won't even bother with them, yeah? So this is a critical piece. It's like, number one, it's a normal stress response. Number two, be grateful that you do it. Number three, if you're feeling numb right now, know that there's a time limit that you can stay numb until numbing turns itself into requirement to stay numb with alcohol, with food, with sex, with drugs, prescription or otherwise, right? They are the sorts of habits that come out of prolonged numbness and carrying huge emotional stuff around with us. We've got to deal with it. So what are the requirements to be able to deal with this sort of stuff? So it depends on the scope of the trauma, right? If you have had massive trauma, I would highly recommend reaching out and getting some counseling or therapy to be able to deal with it. I think that's one of the first things to say. If you're very much at that traumatic end of the spectrum, critical, right? That said, if you're just kind of at that numb level and feeling a little bit just lost in it all and can't find your mojo, the requirements that you need are: 1, safe space, right? You need safe space. 2, you need pulling away from every day, right? You can't do it alongside. You need a little bit of a pull away from every day to be able to kind of dig in and look at it. Number 3, you need the tools. You need some good tools to be able to let the stuff out in a safe way, have the processing and the digestion, and start to let things to move through. Yeah, they're the pieces you need, and a host that knows what they're doing, right? A host that knows what they're doing. By host, it could be a coach, it could be a group work that you do, and this is the sort of thing, ladies, that we are going to be doing at the Momentum for Change weekend. We're going to be creating this safe space. We're going to be getting you connected with a beautiful community, and we're going to be understanding why these things are happening the way they're doing, and start the healing work together. Right, coming away and coming together for this weekend. So if you're not already registered, you can get registered for it. I think I saw Joe put the link in the chat channel there. It's oneofmany.co.uk/momentum. It's completely free for the entire weekend, or you can do yourself a favor and get yourself a premium ticket so you get the recordings if you miss anything. But this is the kind of work that we're going to be doing, right? But even if you don't come to Momentum for Change, this is the requirements that you need. Safe space, right? Safe space. You need to pull away from the onslaught, right? And you need the tools to be able to work through. And I mean, this could be as simple, if you're doing it yourself, it could be as simple as journaling, meditation, just something to start to allow things and open up and move stuff through. And then the fourth thing that you need is someone there to catch you, like a coach or a host or a trainer or whatever it is, depending on what path you choose. Someone who can help you if it gets messy, right? Because it could get messy because there's a lot of stuff going around. So they're the pieces that you need to be able to deal with it. Simplest thing you could do if you could possibly swing it is join us for Momentum for Change. We're going to be doing some lovely healing work that weekend. It will be particularly gentle because we've all been through a lot. We're going to be looking at reframing how we understand procrastination, how we understand, the disempowering archetypes and the impacts that they're having on us at the moment specifically, and how we can gently get back into radical compassion for ourselves and space to heal and to move forward. Right? There's some lovely chats here that I'd like to share with you. Yes. My sister just said, I just shared this with my Melbourne mates after a day of tears. For me, it's useful. So it might be relevant to them too. Yay. Thanks, Kath. Yeah, darlings, all of you, if this is hitting a chord for you, please tag your friends in it, share it in Messenger, share the video. It'll be up on YouTube in a couple of hours. You can share it from our YouTube page if that's easier, in an email, whatever. But please do, by all means, share. Jenny says, I see this in kids and adults I work with all of the time, and in me. Yeah, because kids will do it too, right? They absolutely will. At the moment, I'm crying a lot and I'm dancing, shaking, and sea swimming to process it. Well done, Jenny. That's exactly it, right? Dancing gets us in our body. So our body goes, oh, hello. I can't hold on to this big pit of yuck while she's moving. So here go, Jenny. Deal with this little bit right now while you're shaking your pelvis. Yeah. Shaking is a great thing. Like literally, a shakeout is one of the best things you can do to deal with trauma. Literally shake the stress out of the system. Yep. Sea swimming, beautiful. There's something so cleansing. Honestly, I just floated in that sea at Burry Point one overcast afternoon because it was grey. The kids were like, well, it's not a seaside day, but I know better. I'm a proper Brit now. This was not the freezing day. This was earlier one afternoon at Burry Point. But I floated out in the sea for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something, just floating. And it's so cleansing, right? It's so cleansing. So God, if you live by the sea, go get your feet in the sand, get get in the sea if you can. Yeah, absolutely. Jenny says, I want to tell everyone it's okay to make safe spaces for people in the woods. That's what I do for work. Oh, Jenny, that's it. Beautiful. Right. Tracy's saying, yeah, I drowned mine in alcohol. This is it. Many of us have started habits during this time that are not serving of us, right? We do little things that is sometimes, okay, when we've numbed the edge off something that was hard to deal with, but it's when that becomes the habit, when that becomes the crutch, so that we stay numb because we're not ready to deal with it. That's when the problem is. We've got to make the space to deal with it, to do the work. This is it. Yeah. Yes, great. Jilly's saying, wow, I can't wait. It is so needed. Yeah. Yay. So my darlings, have you got any questions about this? I just wanted to really take the time to understand this particular sensation, to understand where it's coming from, to understand that there is a normality around it, that it is a good and healthful thing that you're doing, but that unless you now give yourself the space, the clarity, and it might not be now, it's like make the time for it. It might not be able to be now, but if you can join us at Momentum for Change, this is the work we'll be doing together, right? And we've got beautiful guest speakers who we're going to be talking to in all different contexts of how we then activate this momentum for change for good in different contexts too. It's going to be wonderful. Go check out the website. You'll see all of the beautiful things we have in store for you. But do you have any questions about that or any other shares? I'll just give it a moment because I know there's always a bit of a delay on Facebook. I'll have a little sip of tea. But key is give yourself the space, right? Give yourself the space, give yourself the time, and know that then as you start to feel things, it's good. Because a lot of people, when you've numbed off and you get used to not feeling things, you think not feeling is good. Not feeling is not good. If you're not feeling, that's not good. We are human beings. We're feeling machines. We're designed to feel. So we need to get ourselves back to feeling safely and not in a way that floors us. So as the things start to come out and you start to feel things, you might have a cry, and that cry might last for 30 minutes, an hour. It might last until you fall asleep that night. If it's still going the next day, like reach out for help. It's really critical that you know where you're going to go for help to do the work. And if you're ever stuck here in the B1 community, ask. We can plug you into the right resources, whether that's coaching with us or whether it's a therapist or what have you. We can support you with that. Oh, Louise says, I've been numb for as long as I can remember. I'm 53. Well, Louise, if you're up for it, let's start the journey, my love. Let's start the journey. If you've been numb a really long time, it's a gentle, creeping reintroduction to self and to feeling, right? Let's take it gently, but you can do this. You can do this. We can do this together, right? We can do this together. Helen says, I drowned myself in a 120-mile bike ride this weekend. Now I have physical numbness. My arm is partially paralyzed. Oh, the irony of this talk's timing. That's it, Helen, right? So you've gone, your numbing strategies, okay, hardcore physical exercise, but you did it, what I can hear from that is you did it outside of your body. If you had done the bike ride present to your body, you would have done enough to move the stress hormones through, and you would have known when it was enough for what your body had in its tanks. But you've pushed it a little too far. Oh my love, my thoughts are with you. Simone's saying, will there be dancing with Momentum for Change? Oh, there will be dancing. There will be dancing, my darlings. It's going to be as close to a big live event as we can make it. And of course, at One of Many, that means dancing as in just fun dancing. But also Susie Heath is going to be doing a session for us with her beautiful movement work to do some healing and some reintegration and opening to flow. So absolutely. Yeah, Louise says, I don't feel any emotions. I thought I was the only one. I really need this. Darling, you're not the only one. And especially not now. A lot more people who used to feel emotions are not feeling their emotions the same way right now. But if this has been a long-term thing for you, it's not, your body has done it to keep you safe. Your psychology, your body, mind has done it to keep you safe. And now, provided you've got the safe space, you can start to open up. That's I think the piece to take away from this. I think this is the piece to take away. So my loves, please do join us at Momentum for Change. It's completely free. for the 2 days. If you like a premium level experience, or if for some reason you cannot make everything over the 2 days, join us at the premium level for a premium ticket. It's only £47, and that £47 gives you recordings of the whole event for 6 months. So you'll have access to the recordings for 6 months afterwards, which means if you miss anything, you could catch up on any pieces. You could even revisit it if you need to at some point. 2, it gets you a cocktails, Q&A and connection session personally with me on the Saturday night. So we'll come together for a smaller group where we'll be going into breakout rooms. You can get connected to each other and get to know a few of the women in the community, develop some friendships. I'll be doing coaching personally with women in that group. And it'll be absolutely transformational. So if you best thing, and you also get the recordings if you miss anything. So it's only £47. It's absolutely worth doing for that. And also we'll send you out a deck of our beautiful Power Types cards to support your learning journey. It's got all of the information that you need to understand the power types in more detail, which we haven't really spoke about today. But that's there for only 47 quid, so it's well worth doing that too. If you've already registered and you would like to upgrade to premium, just drop us a line at the office and we can send you the link to the website to do that. So do join us. I'd love to have you there. We've got it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary how many women are stepping up to this, ladies, because we really need it, right? We really, really need it. As of this morning, we have 919 ladies registered for the event. I fully expect that by the time we go live in a month's time, that we will have over 3,000. I'm hopeful we'll have over 3,000. So it's going to be an extraordinarily powerful there will be a lot of momentum at the event and in the event itself. So if this is helpful, please do share it. Share the event with friends, co-workers, colleagues. Share this Facebook Live. This will be up on YouTube if you just want to send someone out a YouTube link if they're not on Facebook. There's so many ways to share our work. We really do care about getting these tools into the hands of as many women as we can at this time. It is critical that we are all supported through this incredibly stressful time, darlings. It's really stressful right now. And even if it doesn't feel stressful in your head because you're doing a great job of numbing, your body is feeling it. So we need to support one another. And doing free events like this or low-cost events like this is our way of being able to reach out and give back. Yes, of course, there will be the opportunity to join further programs with us if it resonates with you, yeah? But it's absolutely no obligation, and we would love as many women to get their hands into these tools and get their bodies into these tools completely for free that we can. So please do share and share widely for us and with us. It would be great. All right, my loves. Well, it's been great chatting with you. I hope today has been useful. Please let me know in the comment section how you found today. And I will be back as sorry, my holiday lunch and learn live. Again, if you weren't here at the beginning but you missed last week's lunch and learn live, is because I missed it. Didn't look at my diary. Completely forgot. Apologies. Apologies. But yes, we are back. We are back now and back in flow. At least until October half term. All right, darlings. See you later. Lots of love to you all. And I'll hopefully see you at Momentum for Change. Bye.